Alright, so we're back here with the final part this time. I swear it's the final part. We'll get this all done today in this video. But I was able to get my slot cutter bit set. We're using the 3/32 slot cutter bit with the attachment and everything for the router. So it's ready to go. I'll get the camera set up and I will film this, and then we'll get the control panel sanded down, get it prepped and ready for the overlay. I'm going to make some templates for the joysticks and buttons and everything, so I know where to drill the holes. Then we'll get the CPO on and finish this process up. But after that, it'll be time to get everything wired up, and that should finish it up. So let's get the camera set up and see what happens here. Well, I made a mistake. You can see the slot is cut. It goes all the way around. It turned out nice, but it's way too big. I swear to God, the last time I did this, I swear I used the 3/32 one, but that's not correct. It's actually the 1/16 you want to use. You want to use the 1/16 inch. The 3/32 is way too big. So the slot's cut, but unfortunately I'm going to have to use some hot glue to keep it in there. But not a big deal. It's just disappointing. I'm not gonna, nothing worth redoing the entire piece for. So I got the slot cut. It turned out fine, except it's too big. So for those of you out there, you want to use the 1/16, not the 3/32. But not the end of the world. I'll just hot glue it in. It'll be fine. So we'll proceed on. So the CPO I have kind of mocked up on here, and then you can see here that it actually has some overhang there, which I can tuck under the T-molding. That's all around the front, plenty on the front, and the side over here is the same. Let's see if I can get, there you go. So it's perfectly aligned on the panel. So now I need to make some templates for a template for player 1, 2, and 3. So I'll get that done, then we'll get the holes drilled and apply the CPO and move on from there. Alright, so there you go. All holes drilled. The buttons are 1 1/8 and the joystick hole is 1 1/4. So if you ever want to do this yourself, those are the sizes. But there it is. So now it's time to sand it down and apply the overlay. So let's get to that. So I also want to add here real quick, you saw me using a vacuum cleaner, my Dyson here, to suck up all the wood remnants from the drilling because I simply don't have a shop vac. So I plan to get one at some point, but as of this moment I don't have a shop vac, so I had to use my Dyson. It works just as good. So I'm sure some of you probably saw like a vacuum cleaner, what the hell, but anyway, that's the story behind that. So let's get to sanding and get this CPO on here. Well, here it is, complete. Got the box back installed on the cabinet. I got the control panel on there, fully populated. It's all complete except for wiring. So here's how it turned out. I could be happier. You know, being that I put the T-molding slot too thick, or cut it too thick, and I had to glue all this on, which you saw. Otherwise, it turned out pretty good. I'm happy with it, but not overall. It's not perfect. But for, again, the environment that it's going in, that type of environment, it's okay. It just needs to be playable and look good for what it is. It doesn't need to be completely restored to a private collection type of status. And I've mentioned that before, but you get the idea. I just wanted to reiterate that. It's going to end up being great enough to be in the arcade, but not really up to par for personal collection standards. But anyway, you can see that it turned out real nice. Brand new joysticks, new buttons. I don't have any of the wiring done. You can see that I got everything complete. I got brand new panel. Everything's installed. Blacked out the top area, so when you're looking at it from the back, the visible area is black. You know, like this area here and along here. These cutouts I found out were from holes here from some other conversion. When they closed the control panel, it would hit the front here, so they had to notch these areas out for 4 buttons. But I wasn't going to deal with trying to fill it in because it's not visible and there's still plenty of structural strength. It's not a big deal. I got everything lined up and it fits and lines up perfect. I got the latches reinstalled and I got the connection points here for the latches. I already snapped it together and it snaps up nice and tight and it's perfect. So everything is done except for the wiring, which I will get the wiring done off camera because I don't know how many hours it's going to take. There's no reason to film 2 hours worth of video. Even when I speed it up, it's going to end up being forever. So I'm going to do all the wiring off camera and show it after it's done. So you can see here before, nothing's hooked up. All the wiring, of course, is down here. I need to clean the cabinet out and get the wiring all done. And then I have to get my Lexan cut, put that on there. So it's Lexan and wiring, and the project will be done. And then off camera, before I take it to the arcade, I'm going to actually do all of the little odds and ends, like taking off the wire nuts and soldering the wires properly, getting all the connections done, and putting the wire loom. Let's see. Let me show you here. I've got this here, an extra slide-out board from an MK1, and I'm going to use all these harness holders to dress out and fix the wire harness. So it's going to look good when it's done, so don't worry about that. So once I get this wired up and the Lexan installed, I'll show it off. It'll be 100% complete. Well, 99.9. I still have to do the wiring and dress up, but I'll probably show that. But as far as watching the monitor, other odds and ends and nickel and dime stuff, I'm going to do all that off camera and just take it to the arcade after that. So, but for the most part, it's complete. So that's it. It's going to be hard to see really because of the light from the sun back there, but anyway, so let me get this all done and then I'll showcase it off here at the end for one final viewing. So one moment. Alright, well here it is, all done, completely populated. Wiring is done. I got my monitor plexi in there, sized correctly, and everything is great. There's a bit of a gap there because the back door is not on, but the control panel is done. And if you look here, I was able to make everything look nice and neat, and for all intents and purposes, pretty factory looking. Player 3, Player 2, and Player 1, everything is tied up, but looking nice and neat, organized, and they filter down through this wire sorting device. I don't know what the proper nomenclature is, wire holder, and they go to these 3 disconnects, just like a factory midway cabinet, and they go down through over to the JAMA harness. So I can just disconnect these 3 connectors, remove the control panel, just like it would be if it was an actual original machine. So we'll close this down. I'll give you another look here real quick. I'm really pleased with how this turned out. One of the joysticks was defective, so I had to put in a spare that I had. Sorry, the neighbors doing yard work. But this is a spare joystick I had because one of the 3 that I bought was defective. It wouldn't move. The spring was broken internally. So, but everything's wired up and working and tested. Player 3 was a complete nightmare. because the pinout in the manual is completely wrong with how it tells you which pins go to what. That player 3 connector here, this one, is completely incorrect in the manual. I had to go through pin by pin and see which pin did what for which, function, up, down, left, right, attack, jump. And that took an hour just to figure that out. That was a nightmare. But everything is working great. The retainer piece that holds this on is long gone. So I took some double-sided 3M tape in each corner to hold the bezel in place and just put a screw in each corner of the Lexan. So it keeps that in place. Looks great. Works perfect. On the back here, the monitor has to come out in order to move the machine to the business because it's easier to transport these when they don't weigh as much. So this will come out. When it does, I'll clean it up at that point. So, but everything is tied up and neat and organized. You can see the JAMA harness coming off of there. There's a wire loom holder there, and I put a holder right there, nice and neat to the power supply. Everything is organized and looking good. I put another one right there for the power wires, and then one right here for the rest of the wires. And actually, these came in handy to put one there and one here. So I got all the wiring done. Everything is soldered and shrink wrapped, and everything is the way it's supposed to be. All my splices and stuff. And so it's nice and professional looking, and I'm real happy with the way this turned out. Cosmetically and functionally, I guess. It's all looking pretty good. I just kind of wish I had full side art, but the only only company that provides full side art is Escape Pod Online, and I don't do business with them. A lot of people don't do business with them because they steal artwork from other sellers, people that work hard to reproduce artwork, and then Escape Pod buys it and scans it and starts selling it themselves, and they profit off other people's hard work. So I don't buy it from Escape Pod Online. They're the only ones that I found that sell full side art. So for now, I'm happy to go with the medallion. The medallion looks fine the way that it is. I'm happy with it. So that being said, let's fire it up. And I'll probably film from a certain angle so there's no glare on the screen, but it'll still be all right. Oh, these are backwards. This is Pimple, and this is Rash. So the characters are correct in the game. Player 3 is this guy, player 2 is this guy, player 1 is this guy. So in the game, the players are correct, but Pimple is this guy, and Rash is this guy. So these two names are backwards on the CPO. That's unfortunate, but in all likelihood, it's not going to be a big deal. I'm not going to go through replacing all this just for that. So, and the screen's too wide, and I can't change it because someone was kind enough to use the wrong tool for the width coil, and they broke the graphite core, so I can't shrink or increase the width. But it's so close, it's fine the way that it is. But player 1, you'll see here when I press player 2, it'll say Rash, not Pimple. And then player 3 will say Pimple. But this is still the character for player 3 and player 2, so not really that big of a deal. All around, that's hard to do. So jump, attack, all around, jump, attack, all around, jump, attack. So all the controls work, everything is good to go. I need to snap the control panel down. Need to snap the control panel in place, put the back door on, and get the locks installed when I get to the business, and that's all she wrote. So I want to thank everybody for following along on this project, and real happy with the turnout, and I guess ultimately thanks. And if I have another project for the business, I'll of course document that. If not, I'll try and get back to some Mortal Kombat content, but it might be few and far between because there's just a lot of stuff going on at the business, and it's hard for me to keep track of things. So that's basically it. So yeah, again, thanks, and getting long-winded here, and I'll get the back door on and get the panel snapped down, and that's it. So we'll see you next time.